Moving on. Did you watch the fights at the weekend?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing I saw from the weekend was all the post-fight shit with McGregor.
Oh
with
yeah,
all
yeah.
the fighters. See, what was your man's name? Who won again? The Irish fella, the main fella.
Paul Hughes.
Paul Hughes. Yeah. I saw his post-fight kind of interaction with McGregor. What you make of that?
Yeah, well,
It's nice to see, like, but
yeah. So apparently McGregor unfollowed him on
afterwards.
Instagram. No, beforehand. Yeah. So they I heard an interview with Hughes, and Hughes was saying maybe it's because he left Paradigm and signed with the Chosen One agency. So he was with Paradigm, left them. Obviously McGregor was with Paradigm, but it could also be the fact that Hughes trains with Michael Chandler. So I don't know.
Could be the fact that McGregor just tapped as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And just does whatever he wants.
But what did you feel the interaction was like afterwards?
I felt like the main thing for me that came from it was that it felt sincere. Like, you know, a lot of the time you see fighters like just waffling to McGregor, and you can tell it's just a pure like just trying to get something from it or whatever. But it did seem genuine that he was, and I suppose it's natural. Like, you just won, you're buzzing, he's there, you're like fuck it. And to be fair, like whatever about recent years and stuff, like, but that is the main reason. Obviously, that like a lot of people in Ireland do MMA. That's why it's done so well here.
And Paul Hughes does give McGregor credit for that. Like, he talks about it a lot, saying, you know, he was an inspiration to him growing up. And Hughes is definitely the hottest prospect in MMA coming out of Ireland. I was surprised he didn't sign for UFC, but I imagine whatever he got offered by PFL, I think he got offered just a good deal with PFL.
Oh, right.
And you know, a lot of fighters, when they're entering the contract with the UFC, unless you have massive pull somewhere,
you're going to start on a bum wage.
Yeah. That's why Paddy Pimblett didn't go to him for years. Like,
yeah, he had to go for somewhere else.
Well, he was just making more money than they were offering him. He's making like so much money from sponsorship and all that with Cage Warriors, and he was young and he knew he had time. Like, but for Paul Hughes, I'd say PFL wanted to get him because he is a big prospect and potentially the next Irish star in MMA, and he is shit hot, very well rounded.
Paul Hughes.
Yeah, very well rounded.
He got a 3-fight deal. It says $1 million.
Yeah, so like that's
Paul?
fucking 3-fight deal for $1 million, and he's going to be in the tournament, I think. So
to win another $1 million.
No. So he got it. He'll fight 3 times in 2024, and then we'll gain entry to the tournament. So the tournament is $1 million. The PFL.
Yeah, I saw there was only one recently, wasn't there?
Yeah, they've done. I don't know what they do.
A fella from Cork was Ireland as well.
John Mitchell.
Tall fella.
No, John Mitchell. John Mitchell was. Maybe Franz Malambo,
maybe I'm not sure.
But John Mitchell is from Cork, and he was in the tournament, the lightweight tournament last year. No, he was in the tournament, but he's a great fighter as well, man. Big prospect. He's living out in the Middle East.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing with Hughes signing for the PFL is, like, he's always said in his interviews that he really wants to be the best mixed martial artist at his weight category in the world, and it's hard to think if you can do that outside of the UFC. Like, even Michael Venom Page, right, as good as he was, everyone kind of does feel like if you're not in the UFC, you're not really.
Yeah, that's like the verified, you know, it's even Chandler was the same. It's like, you're in the UFC now, you couldn't beat the boys in the UFC. Same with MVP. Yeah, but see, even in his post-fight interview, he was like kind of disappointed with his performance, Paul Hughes, because he was like, I'm telling everyone I'm one of the best in the world, and like, I need to stick to my word. I'm back in the gym Monday. He is hungry, young fella. Like,
and
that's what's going to do it. And again, back to, you know, his interaction with McGregor. Did you see recently? You know, Keelan Loughran. Who's in the UFC, kind of threw a few shots at McGregor and stuff like that. He put up a tweet being like, because I feel like that's kind of the way things are starting to turn as well with like the Irish MMA scene and McGregor with all the stuff. And
us against them, you mean?
No, as in like he was giving McGregor guff.
Yeah, but what I mean is like us against them, McGregor and his team against the rest of the MMA.
I just feel like the McGregor thing, like his whole thing has just changed last few years. Like, he's not fighting, and it's, you know, all the partying, and like I think people are just kind of getting a bit, I don't know.
I would just wish that he kind of accepted the fact that he's, you know,
on the tail end.
He is what he is. Like, he's Conor McGregor. Like, but I don't think, like, MMA moves so quick. Like, if you're not in it, man, it just goes. If you look at the top 10 today of any weight category and look at it 5 years ago, it's completely different fighters, you know, because the fighters are after developing so much, and it's just a fast moving sport. So I'd love if he just accepted the fact that, you know, he had an amazing career as short as it was, made more money than any MMA fighter has ever made.
Yeah.
I know he has many different interests, acting, business. Just
yeah,
go
I think
in.
I'd like that. Like I think he might be a bit envious by what Khabib did. I think a lot of fighters are. Like, he just did it perfectly. Like, he just
Yeah.
retired on top. Because inevitably you're going to lose if you just fight forever.
But there was questions about Khabib then, you know, people saying he's
I know,
not
but-
the GOAT because
But they were good. But they were like good questions, you know.
Mm.
In regards to, like, now some people have questions of McGregor and these other fighters, like, who are older. They're like, oh, he should have stopped years ago. He's this, now they're washed up.
I get you, yeah.
Whereas the only questions of Khabib was like, oh, is he the best ever? Because he retired. I mean, at the top of his game.
I mean, either like you call it a day when it's time to call it a day, or you continue when it's
Yeah, but it's easy to say that, but I reckon it's so hard to, when that's all you know,
yeah.
it's going to be so hard to call it a
When
day.
your ego is so attached to it, man, and like think of it, he's Conor McGregor, like he's the fella who called how he's going to knock out like undefeated Jose Aldo, and did it in 13 seconds.
He to me, like, I don't know if you agree now, but I think the best MMA performance of all time is Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez. The magnitude of the fight, one of the biggest fights ever at the time, to be the first double champ, up a weight class for the first time, and just the way that he smashed him was the best fight, the best performance.
Yeah.
Like, McGregor might not be the best fighter ever, might not be the most skillful, he might not be, but that night will, I think, be the best performance ever.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like I think McGregor was in that moment the best fighter in the planet, like on the planet, without doubt.
You couldn't convince me that anyone could have beat him.
But can you repeat that? Like, can you go back to that?
No.
You know, at this stage, after all that's happened with the Mayweather fight, with the money, living on a yacht, living in fucking absolute, you know, living the life of a king, basically. Can you go back and have that same attitude, same hunger? And then to see when he came out about the injury, and Rafael dos Anjos had a poke at him as well.
No, what did he say?
Going back to what you said before I talk about that though, what did Caelan Loughlin say to him? Because I was interested in that.
Yeah, I think it's Keelan by.
Or Keelan
No,
Loughlin.
but you know why? That's funny because I never knew how to pronounce his name. It's CAO, like LON. So I was always saying
That's those
Keelan.
Northern Irish lads by.
Yeah, it's Keelan Loughlin.
Northern
I'm
Ireland Irish is fun.
Yeah, but he actually, to be fair, he's one of the only young up-and-coming Irish fighters I've ever seen give McGregor guff. Because obviously, if you're an up-and-coming Irish fighter, like, that's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot, like giving McGregor guff because he's the guy.
Yeah.
But he was basically like saying McGregor, like, it's just a joke now. Like, he's such a bad role model, out drinking, partying, clubbing, doing drugs. Like, this isn't like the McGregor of 6-7 years ago was who young Irish fighter should have been looking up to, and he's basically saying like no one should look up to him now for what. And to be fair, like, that's why I actually love Michael Chandler as a fighter. Even like fellas like Dustin Poirier, like, they're such good role models throughout the whole career. All Chandler ever does is just trains like a freak. You can see that with his physique all year round. He's insane, and like that's why part of me like not wants Chandler to win, but like the moral side of me is like that's who should win.
Share this tongue code.
No, I swear, but it's so weird. It's
no,
like,
listen.
and here, it's like I want McGregor to win. Like, the 16-year-old me wants McGregor to beat Michael Chandler, but the older version of me who just loves the gym and like a good lifestyle and stuff like that wants like the good fighter to win. Wants like the good lifestyle to win, because I'm like, right, that's how it should be. And if McGregor wins, it's like, oh, everything I know is wrong. Do you get what I'm saying?
I 100% get what you're saying, and that's basically what you're talking about is John Jones as well. Like John Jones is exactly that. Like, not a great role model, but an incredible fighter. And if you're looking at someone, so this is one of the big things that One Championship and Chatri, the CEO, tries to differentiate about the One brand versus UFC. So he would say, like, what he saw as a gap in the market for One when he first started it was UFC is amazing, and their reach and their pull and everything they've done is unbelievable, but they're not representing true martial arts. True martial arts is discipline, respect, you know, consistency, patience, all those things that you want kids. Like, if you could say to a kid, do you want your kid to act like McGregor or like Chandler, you know, when they're in school?
Yeah, of course.
Do you want them to be saying, who the fuck is that guy, to the teacher? Or do you want them to be, you know, listening, doing their shit? So there is different characters to make up the world, and McGregor, when he was at his peak, his personality, I felt, was a perfect balance of, you know, cheeky, funny, charismatic, but a grafter, and no one could deny the graft. Now it's gone a little bit or a lot more on the other side, and that's what Caelan Lachlan.
Yeah,
Clown,
whatever it's Keelan.
Clown.
But that's what I was
Mr.
saying.
Lachlan, we call him Mr.
Yeah.
Lachlan.
That's what I was saying to the boys the other day, right? All the shit that McGregor used to do, all that shit is way funnier when you're winning.
Yeah, when you're fighting. When
Second
you're
you second you haven't won a fight in years. Like, if he came out now in his peak and was saying and doing the same shit he does now, it would probably still work. But because he hasn't won a fight in years, and now he's still giving people golf and doing this and that, it's like, it's not that cool when you're not winning.
Here's
You know?
a question for you.
Yeah.
When do you think, because I have a good timeline in my head of this now,
Right.
when do you think McGregor went from the McGregor we're speaking about that was so disciplined but still a big personality and it was kind of funny, to the one that people felt like he's pushing it a bit too far, he's not being as, you know...
When he kind of lost the people a bit, you know what I mean? I feel like you might have the same, like I think a lot of people have the same, but it's Eddie Alvarez is the peak. Like, that night was like prime McGregor, you'll never get bigger. Then he fought Floyd, which I think was a bad decision, great decision financially, but bad decision career-wise, because that took years off of his MMA peak.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the fight he could have had after Alvarez in the UFC. Imagine the size of that. He spent so long with Mayweather. I think it's after the Mayweather fight. Who did he fight when he came? Did he come back and get beat by Diaz, or was that before Alvarez?
It was...
Or was it back for Khabib? I can't remember.
I think it was back for Khabib, and I think that was a big error as well.
Yeah, that
Like, coming back off.
Khabib stuff though. I think it was the Khabib shit too.
I think he beat Eddie Alvarez, lost to Diaz, beat Diaz,
then Floyd.
fought Mayweather.
I thought
Rob,
it was.
we
I
need
thought
you
it was,
here,
I
bud.
thought it was Alvarez Floyd. Or
All
maybe
the
it
McGregor
actually,
fanatics are listening.
No,
are going,
no.
I'll tell you.
No, maybe it actually is. Maybe it is, because my timeline's fucking all over the place now because it was so long ago. Maybe it was Alvarez, Nate, Floyd, then Khabib. But basically, to answer your question, I think it was all the Khabib shit.
Yeah.
When he was saying stuff about his religion, like, it got a bit. And what happened was, he said loads of shit about Khabib, like bad shit about his family, them being terrorists, about his religion and everything. And then he got bait as well.
Yeah.
So then it went even worse.
And
like, if he'd had one, it'd have been like, he got him at least. And then he lost. And then after he lost, he just seemed really
bitter.
salty and bitter. And then I think he just snowballed from there.
Yeah.
So we had in 2015 we had the Aldo, then we had Nate Diaz 1, Nate Diaz 2,
Then Alvarez.
then Alvarez.
Then Mayweather.
No, I'm not sure about that, but it's
Then
just
Khabib.
Khabib,
I think
but
it was
see,
Mayweather.
when was the Mayweather fight? When was the
done.
Mayweather fight?
Donald Cerrone. I'll get
That wouldn't it? When was the Mayweather fight?
I was
Either
in
way-
London for the Mayweather fight. So, and I was in Cork.
So it was the 26th of August 2017, and let me have a look.
When does that line up? So, you know.
It was before Khabib.
And
I
after,
know that,
after
but was it-
Alvarez,
was it-
before Khabib.
It was after Alvarez.
Yeah, before Khabib.
Before Khabib.
Yeah, so it was the Khabib one, I think. Well, it was the Khabib one anyway, but after Mayweather, then Khabib, I think that was the massive.
Yeah, there was so then it was a series of unfortunate events, because there was the Khabib, the Dolly thing. I felt like not just McGregor, but I felt actually like the UFC. I don't think they should have used that for promotion. Dana White said this is the fight business. These people are, crazy. But again, when you're looking at kids and like being like, this is acceptable shit.
And the girl got caught in the boss, and
there was a few
it was
fighters
very
missed
messy.
out.
And I think it had a kind of a bad look on the whole.
But the build up, right?
Oh, yeah.
The build up, guys. And then remember the clip came out when they were up against the fence, and Conor goes, "It's just business." Oh, lads.
No, that was it. Now that I think back, that was it. That's like the magician just showed the trick.
Yeah.
Like, and then that was it. It's not real anymore.
See,
then it just became, that was it. When that clip of McGregor came out, and Khabib was beating him, and McGregor's like, relax, boy.
It's just business.
And I was just like, that was a day how it crushed me, boy.
Because
do you know, like, you just, like, before when he beat Alvarez and shit, like, I was on the train, like, I was a conductor on the McGregor train. I was, and then he went to fought Floyd, and I was like, okay, it's boxing. He lost. It was actually competitive. We go again. Khabib, here we come now. This fella's getting it.
Do you know what I say? It's like when you're in school, do you ever have the guy in school who was just always picking on someone?
Yeah.
And then one day your man and the people are being cruel, like calling them all names. Then one day your man turns around and just starts baiting. The man's like, I'm only messing, mate. I'm only messing, mate. I was only messing.
When that clip came out and he's like, it's just business. I remember watching thinking, can't do that. Like,
Look, it wasn't business for Khabib. It was fucking personal, and
But maybe it was. But maybe that's the whole thing with McGregor. Maybe he was just so good. Like he had everyone like thinking that this was him, but maybe it was just business for him, you know.
But at this stage of the game, I'd love to see him back once more, just to see if he can, because that's always the thing with McGregor, right? He is McGregor, but you see, so when you see him pull out of this fight, and I mentioned Rafael dos Anjos had a poke at him because when dos Anjos pulled out against him that time, when he ended up fighting Diaz, was it Diaz? I think he fought that time. Yeah. He was like saying, "Oh, there was a clip came out recently of him being like, oh, just put some fucking ice on it, have some ibuprofen," and he was like, "If you put me under an X-ray," I can't do the double accent, but if you put me under an X-ray machine, they tell me get out of here, kid." Yeah. And now, a few years later, but in his defence, the stage he's at in his career, it's a different fucking kettle of fish, you know.
Can you actually talk about it? I don't know why he pulled out, or what's the story?
Broken toe.
So he put up some pictures and stuff. He completely snapped his baby toe. So he just doesn't want to fight. Well, but it does make sense what you're saying. Like, I feel like he probably would have even fought through that before.
Well, but he did numerous times.
Yeah, but now it's like, I think it's after getting to him that he's after losing the last few on the trot. And I do think that he's like, no matter what, he will not go into this fight unless he's won. He said it himself. He's not going to go in unless he's 100% Conor McGregor. Because I feel like he knows in his own head he can't lose one more. Can. I don't think he can. I think if he loses this one, everyone's off the train.
Yeah.
And I feel like he knows that, and that's why he pulled out, because I feel like he's like, this is his, he has to win.
He said it in the interview in Bellator in the cage, he said, "I need to be 100% Conor McGregor." And he does, because there is a lot at stake for him. Like, if he does manage to pull off a win, I would still like him to call it a day, man, because
no, I know, I'd love him to go on a win.
What's going to be, is he going to go in and start fighting contenders in lightweight?
No, what happens?
Is he going to fight?
Well, the only thing with McGregor is he always has the McGregor card. He could go in and beat Chandler, and he could probably fight for any belt he wants, because the champion's going to take it, because everyone wants it. Yeah. But everyone wants to fight him, because realistically, all the champions will beat him first of all, so they'll win it, and it'll be the biggest fight they ever had. So like, realistically, if McGregor goes in and beats Chandler, like, he's probably going to just fight for a belt straight away, skip everyone, like he maybe rightfully deserves to, because he's so big. But at the same time, it's like, and the champion's going to want it as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like if he goes in and wins, he'll just fight for a belt and get smashed and then probably bunk.
I'd love to see him get the win, call it a day, go sober, and just start going around Ireland, just motivating people with his old speeches. Joe, when people are getting up for work in the morning, just go around with like a big speaker and just start pumping people up.
Like the Ali G in the car.
Because he was, man, like, when he first came on the scene, he got people going.
I was his biggest fan ever. He's the reason I got a baiting in MMA, like, because that's where I started.
He's the reason that people listen to these. Like, he made so much more people. He was, I think, MMA was already like a fucking bomb. He was the ignition though. He blew it up. But I remember when he beat who did he beat? Ivan Bakovic or something for the lightweight Cage Warriors title on New Year's Eve that time. Oh my god, man, that was like it was just a special knockout where he slipped across.
Oh, that's probably my favourite knockout of his ever. It's one
folded
of them,
him, man, folded him, and became two-way Cage Warriors champion. But look, it'll be interesting. Hopefully, I think Dana White said in the pre-fight or the post-fight press conference in Saudi Arabia that the schedule is full for the rest of the year. He's not going to talk about it until McGregor's fit, like, and ready. Yeah. And that's another thing. Then the timeline I think it doesn't favour McGregor or Chandler that the fight's being postponed, because they're both not getting younger, right? I think,
Yeah, and you could tell in the post-fight press conference that Dana White has PTSD from the boys. He was afraid to say anything, like from McGregor and thing. Just this whole few weeks of everything falling out with Hamza, like, people were asking him, "Oh, what?" And he was like, "I'm not saying anything until I know what's going on."
Hamza, man, he's another guy though who's just disappeared.
Did you hear the rumours that Hamza might be retiring
because of all his illnesses?
Because of everything. Apparently, he's had 8 fights in the UFC. Yeah, and he's had 6 pullouts in the UFC.
No way. And
like, apparently, even this time again, his health is bad and he's in a bad place. Like, I reckon by that, like, I don't know what his future is, but there's a lot of speculation that he might just call it a day. I seen Gustafsson saying, alright, that like whenever he gets close to a fight, he trains so hard he just gets sick all the time. Like, how mad is that? Like, some people are like, I don't know, it's not the weight cut because he's gone up, like, isn't he? But maybe there's some like infection that he got, like bacteria. He had COVID that time. Maybe there's something that just so many fights though, like 6 fights. Yeah, I actually got asked there during the week by a fan of the podcast. Oh,
He's my friend as well, though.
first
So,
one ever.
so he's a fan because he's my friend now. But
Yeah.
he asked me, "Is that true that Hamza can't fight in America?" And I actually looked into it afterwards because I never seen any confirmed
Yeah, I haven't either.
reports. But there's no, it's all speculation. But the rumor is because your man Ramazan, whoever what man's name was, the Chechnyan dictator fella,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
best buddies with Hamza. Like Hamza
Yeah,
be always
yeah,
over
yeah.
with him, and he's obviously big, highly involved with Putin, and that could be
Yeah.
a reason he has visa issues.
That's what Helwani be saying as well anyway, like the whole visa
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And that's why you see a lot of these boys fighting in Saudi, like the ginger one-eyed pirate fella who just fought.
Yeah, the ginger white pirate.
That's what they call him. But he's like,
Pirate,
that's
yeah.
the same. Like they're all them boys fighting.
Shara.
All them boys fighting Saudi for whatever reason, I don't know, but
Yeah, well, I think at the moment they probably find it hard to get to America unless you've already been there.
saying, yeah.
Like the Islams and all these lads, they probably
Yeah.
don't have visas.